Hey, all. Well, it's Grey Cup Day in Canada. For those who are CFL watchers, I hope you enjoy the game. What it also means, for those of us in Alberta who are political watchers, is that the hard deadline that Premier Smith laid out for Mark Carney when he got elected has now passed. She made 9 demands and said, or else, but didn't add what that might be, and said the deadline, the hard deadline on these demands is Grey Cup Day. Well, guess what? He ignored all of them. What are you going to do, Premier Smith? What I've seen now is from the UCP communications saying they're going to extend the deadline. That's giving up. That's being a wimp. That's capitulation. Some people are making an excuse. Oh, well, that's how you negotiate. No, it's not. That's how you negotiate a loss. You draw a line in the sand and you keep jumping back. You've got to do something. There's got to be some teeth, not kicking the can down the road 2 more months or whatever it may be, 2 more weeks even. I think, yeah, it's the end of the month they're talking about. You can't. We need to have some teeth. Something else that's coming up in a couple of weeks is the UCP AGM. And I tell you what, one of the biggest threats to the well-being of Albertans and to the independence movement is if the conservative movement rips itself apart. If the parties fracture. Look what's happening in BC. Look what happened with us 10 years ago with Wildrose and progressive conservatives. Well, the biggest threat right now is a functional independence party forming and taking a bite out of UCP support, because that would put Nenshi into power. That would mean the independence supporters would lose because Nenshi's never going to give us a referendum. And Albertans in general would lose because Nenshi's a socialist who will destroy our economy. We need to keep that party unified. And you go into this AGM with a big question mark saying, well, I'm going to be a wimp with Carney. You're pouring gasoline on the fire for those who want to start independence parties. They're going to say, and maybe they'll have a point. Because, I've always been strongly against the approach of taking a party towards the independence movement. I still am. But it leaves that responsibility then, and a difficult one, for the provincial government to manage Alberta's affairs and give those freedoms to independence advocates to make sure they don't have the need to go into this with a party. They got to feel at least what's being done on the governing front is being done, and it's not. This game is getting stupid. It's getting ridiculous. Carney is laughing at us. He gave us tokenism with this office of national projects that here, we'll put it in Calgary to show we're serious. Guess what? That was just recently exposed by Rebel Media. They haven't even opened an office yet. They don't care. They have a budget of millions, and they only have 1 employee. It's all in the Prime Minister's office. There's no actual thing going on with this office in Calgary determining these major projects and things like that. It's just up to Carney. Look, he's not giving us a pipeline. He will not, unless you push back. No more begging, no more capitulating, no more sniveling. We have to say the or else. It's really very simple. If he wanted that line, he can make the legislative changes instantly to get it in. He can signal instantly what's required. We know what's required. The tanker ban has to be gone. He just has to say that. It's gone. The emissions cap has to be gone. The anti-pipeline bill, C-69, is gone, because no company in their right mind is going to invest a nickel into a pipeline in Canada while those pieces of legislation are there. We knew that. We knew that 6 months ago when Premier Smith listed those in her demands of things she expects of Carney. Carney knows that too. He's playing a game saying, well, there's no private interest showing interest in it, so how can we get the pipeline? Well, of course not. When you've basically made it illegal to build one, why would some fool put money into it? Now, this game is done, and this game is dumb. Tomorrow is a weekday. I really hope to see an or else coming out of the UCP. I'm tired of us being told, oh, we're negotiating hard behind closed doors. Well, you know what? You're negotiating on our behalf. You're our representatives. Enough behind closed doors. Talk to us. Don't give us the old mushroom treatment, kept in the dark and fed crap. We won't put up with it. I still think Premier Smith has been the best thing for Alberta in a long, long time. She's been standing up for us more than others. But now push has come to shove. The deadline's been set, and she's going to look completely toothless if there isn't a consequence. What's the consequence? Schedule an independence referendum. Let's do it. Let's get on with it. Let's have a discussion. It won't just be a provincial discussion. It'll be a national discussion. Schedule it for July. Schedule it for June, mid-June. Let's have 6 months of doing nothing but talking about the pros and cons of Alberta staying within Canada. You don't have to, as a premier, as a government, have to endorse one side or another, and I don't blame. Just give us the means. Give us the mechanism. Don't make independence supporters have to waste more resources and time petitioning to have it. Fabio already did that. Lukasik, for those more unfamiliar with him. The petition's been done. Enough Albertans want this question to go to referendum. So let's schedule it. That's all you have to do to move on these negotiations then. Say, you know what? We're putting it to Albertans. We're going to continue to negotiate with Prime Minister Carney. We're going to continue to make demands, and we'll do what we can. In the meantime, though, we're going to leave it to Albertans to campaign and decide whether or not it's even worth carrying on in the Federation. And during that campaign period, if you want to talk about leverage, you want to talk about negotiations, how many times is Carney really going to be eager to spit in the face of Albertans and continue to kick down the can down the road and continue to shut in our resources for his net zero obsession and his Brookfield obsession? Every time he does that, the support will go a little higher for independence. I don't think it's there yet. There's differences. I guess some of the leaders of the APP have said that if a referendum were held tomorrow, independence would win. Now, that's a load of crap. That's overly optimistic. It's absolutely not true. But we're moving towards it. We're definitely moving towards it. And once we start that long-running campaign, as people are sitting there thinking about it for 6 months, and the province keeps trying to negotiate in good faith and keeps running into the wall and running into the wall, as I said, every time they run into the wall, the support for independence is going to rise a little more as that date looms. And then maybe, we'll see a little more reason out of the federal government, a little more reason out of British Columbia. Or maybe not. Bottom line is, well, fine, then we'll just go. Vote yes. Absolutely. Yes to go. Not Fabio's petition. I'm talking about a real petition, a constitutionally binding. We don't have to wait for the courts. We can hold one. We have the authority as a province. No more deadlines. No more threats with no consequences because they're pointless. Premier Smith did what she could then, showed that she would negotiate and try, but now it's failed. And it just looks worse if you keep backing off. We can't wait any longer. They're strangling our resources. The world wants them. We're listening to a government pretending that they can't help us get them to market. It's an insult to us. So, in closing, enjoy the game, guys. Hope the Western side wins it, I guess. One more reminder, and this is where I'll talk a little more about that, though. Why we really can't get independence parties going. This is the Sovereigntist Handbook. I wrote this. I always got to plug it, showing my experience. And I started the Independence Party. I ran an Independence Party into a provincial election. Premier Klein really taught me some hard lessons about politics back then. It's not parties we need. It's a referendum. That's it. That's all. And Premier Smith, if you don't give us that, somebody's going to form a party. And that party won't win in Alberta. But it'll take maybe 10, 15% support. That's enough to bring Premier Nenshi in. And then we all lose. If you give the independence movement a referendum date, they're going to be too busy to form a party. They're going to be petitioning, or not even petitioning anymore, they're going to be campaigning. And that can happen over there, and you can work on your government over there. Because there's a lot to do. You got some unions to battle. You've got all sorts of things happening. Take the independence thing off the government's plate by just putting it to a referendum, because you can't negotiate with Carney anymore. He won't negotiate in good faith. And hey, guys, since I put the book up, like I said, I got to make the plug. Give the gift of independence. Christmas is approaching. If you really want to, drive your crazy liberal uncle mad, why don't you grab a copy of the Sovereigntist Handbook? It gives the instructions on how to get to independence. Perfect gift for fun out there, or for the person who's on the fence, or for the other advocate, or if you yourself just want to learn how to better advocate for independence. The link is down in the description of the video. You can grab a copy for yourself. And those who've already bought one, boy, there's been a lot of them sold this year. It says a lot. Thanks. Either way, we're at a turning point. I'm looking forward to the AGM with the UCP as an observer. I'm not a member of the APP or the UCP. I'm going to be there as media. But I hope what I don't see on the floor of that are the beginnings of a party split, because that will be the beginning of the end. The chance is here. The deadline's here. Premier Smith has to show some fortitude now, or this is all going to fall apart.